All clips and videos shown were recorded on or before December 21st, 2017. This was filmed as a live-to-tape segment.
I'm ready. Come on.
Feel it coming in the air.
Yeah.
Hear the screams from everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm addicted to the thrill. It's a dangerous love affair. Can't be scared when it goes down. Got a problem, tell me now. Only thing that's on my mind is who gonna run this town tonight.
Dirk Nowitzki with 30,000 points.
Victories within the mile. Almost there, don't give up now. Only thing that's on my mind is who gonna run this town tonight. Who gonna run this town tonight?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to our 2017 Jam Sports Pro Sports Year in Review segment. We're your hosts, Max Danielsen.
And I'm Jared Hedges.
Jared, it's been a pretty good year so far of sports. How was your break, by the way, since we're on the holiday break?
I had an amazing break. I had a lot of fun, ate a lot of good food. How was yours?
It was pretty good, you know. So far it's been very good, especially watching some sports and, of course, coming up with college football, which we'll jump right into as we're going to introduce our guest. Mr. Cliff Gibson is on the show. Welcome to the show, Cliff. You excited to be here?
Excited to be here. I'm honored that you guys brought me aboard, so thank you.
So let's get right into it with last year's college football playoff, which included the 4 teams of Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and your Washington Huskies.
Unfortunately, it didn't turn out the way I wanted to, but it was still a good playoff.
Which we're going to talk about right now, with Alabama beating Washington in the Peach Bowl last year with a score of 24-7, and then Clemson went on and shut out Ohio State in the Fiesta Bowl by the score of 31-0, and then Alabama and Clemson played on January 29th, in 2017 in Tampa Bay, Florida at the Buccaneer Stadium, and Clemson prevailed, beating Alabama, ending their 14-0 season with a score of 35-31. Now, was this, in your opinion, a good game, Cliff?
Well, that was an excellent game, especially the ending. It rivaled the Texas USC national championship game of 2005. Just the way that the teams traded punches, and it came down to the end. Clemson running the pick play, and Deshaun Watson throwing the game-winning touchdown. So
I'm glad you did mention Deshaun Watson. Do you think that game really solidified what he was doing and what Deshaun Watson was going to become?
You know, I think Deshaun's legacy had already been written at Clemson in his junior year. He had made a big name for himself, but then coming back for a senior year, winning the Heisman, and then ending it with a national title. Of course, we saw what he did in his first NFL year before he got injured. So he's definitely a star in the making.
And there was some amazing upsets. You had
upsets so far.
Howard upsetting UNLV, and then Liberty upsetting Baylor, and then I believe the biggest upset, Iowa State and Oklahoma.
Now, what do you think, in your opinion, is the biggest upset?
Out of those three, if I had to pick,
just anyone, I think.
Well, I don't know. The Liberty Baylor game was shocking in the fact that just the caliber of school that Baylor has been, their program. But as we would see as the season went along, Baylor suffered week after week after week. So honestly, my biggest upset would have to be the Iowa State and Oklahoma game, just because it was in Norman. If that game had been in Ames, then probably not so big.
And of course, a lot of people have agreed that this season is one of the best. Why do you think it's been one of the best? And so far, a lot of people have also said it's better than the NFL season. We talked about it earlier about how the intensity has been down in the NFL. What do you think that's been?
Well, it's always better than the NFL, in my opinion, because in the NFL, you can lose 6 games and still have a chance to get to, the pinnacle, the Super Bowl. But in college football, 2 losses, and most of the time you're out. 3, you're definitely out. But this year, what made it so good was that everybody lost. Mm-hmm. And so, the constant reshuffling in the playoff standings. And then we had, of course, drama once again when they selected the Final Four.
Now, The four, you got number 1 Clemson, number 2 Oklahoma, 3 Georgia, and 4 Alabama. Do you think the college football playoff board got it right?
I think they did, because not only were those the 4 teams I had, those were the exact seedings I had when I kind of marked it down on pencil and paper. So I think that this year you can't really put Ohio State in that discussion simply because of the fact that they set that precedent last year. So I think that they got it right this year. Alabama coming in. If you put Alabama against Ohio State, I think the Crimson Tide are going to win that game 9 times out of 10. So that's how you get that last seed.
Yeah, before we go into more of the college football playoff as well as the bowl games, of course, Baker Mayfield won the 2017 Heisman Year Award. You have any opinions on Baker Mayfield? Do you think he's going to be a good player?
Well, he's a great player right now at the collegiate level. Time will tell what he does in the NFL, but I think he was hands down the best player in college football this year. There's no doubt about it. Saquon Barkley, came on strong to start the year, and as Penn State kind of started to fizzle away, you saw his Heisman hopes kind of go by the wayside. But yeah, the fact that they brought 3 to the Heisman ceremony, I thought was kind of ridiculous. They should have just brought Baker and congratulated him and been done with it. So
then who do you think's going to, because of course you said you had the exact 4 seedings, who do you think's going to go on and win the championship?
Well, I have Oklahoma beating Georgia simply because of the Baker Mayfield kind of effect there. I think that Oklahoma's offense is going to outscore Georgia's, even though Georgia has a strong defense. A motivated Baker Mayfield is probably the most dangerous thing in college football right now. And the other semifinal, I don't think Alabama is the animal they've been in the past few years. Clemson obviously is getting the job done. Their defense is nasty. And Kelly Bryant is another, I won't say he's the next Deshaun Watson. He's the first Kelly Bryant. He's going to be a phenomenal guy. And I think Clemson will beat Alabama by double figures.
And do you think Clemson's going to win the championship, or?
I do. I think Clemson is hands down the best team in the nation. Offensively and defensively, they're sound. Oklahoma is missing that defensive element. And I think Clemson, having been there last year and the year before and knowing what it takes not only to get there but to win it, I think that's going to be the deciding factor. I pick Clemson 38-28.
You heard it first. That is his prediction. Now going on to more predictions here. We got some bowl games for you to predict. Cotton Bowl with the USC Trojans versus the Ohio State Buckeyes. Who do you think is going to win that?
Oh, it's hard to pick against JT Barrett just because of all the things he can do. USC, being a Pac-12 guy, I've seen USC quite a few times, and you just never know what you're going to get from Sam Darnold. He had a lot of hype before the season started, but in the big games, he was kind of taking a back seat. So I'm going to take Ohio State, although I think it will be a close game.
And then, of course, you said for the Sugar Bowl, you're going to pick Clemson over Alabama, and then for the Rose Bowl, Oklahoma over Georgia. Now going on to the Fiesta Bowl, you have your Washington Huskies versus the Penn State Nittany Lions. There you go. Who do you think is going to win that?
The sexy pick is Saquon Barkley and Penn State, but as the season kind of came to an end, Washington's defense really started to play well, and their running game started churning out 200, 250 yards per game. I think that Washington's defense can do enough to contain Barkley, not necessarily shut him down, force Penn State to throw where they're not as good, and I think Washington will win it, albeit 7 to 8 points.
Okay, and then going on to the Alabama Bowl, of course, the hometown TCU Horned Frogs will be taking on Stanford. Who do you think is going to win that?
Well, I may catch some flack for this, but TCU's defense in the past few weeks, especially in the Big 12 championship game, was atrocious. Mm-hmm. And if you put that on the field against an offense that can grind it out with a guy like Bryce Love, man, Stanford may have this thing wrapped up by halftime.
Yeah, I think this concludes our college football recap, I guess you could say. Cliff, thank you for coming on the show. Cliff Gibson, everyone.
Thank you.
And now we're going to tune over to our first commercial break, where we'll be listening to some of our sponsors and what they have to say. Don't go anywhere, because next we'll be talking about the NFL season so far and the NHL season, as well as the offseason for the NHL. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
To get your yard into shape, Keen Landscaping can help. Their mission is to be your #1 choice for landscaping teams in Dallas. Since 1980, Keene Landscaping has been known for their outstanding customer service and superior results. That's why Keene Landscaping is the most respected landscaping company in the Metroplex. You can find out more by visiting them online at keenlandscaping.com or by calling 972-424-4851. Excellence is always their goal, and it's evident by the work they do. Keene Landscaping, second to none.
The Lynch Locker, the official spirit store at Bishop Lynch High School, has everything you need to make your inner friar happy. They offer a large variety of Bishop Lynch spirit wear, including Nike, Champion, and Under Armour items. You'll also find friar-themed gifts and school supplies. Drop in and shop during regular school days, as well as select games and special events. Follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for updates on hours, new merchandise sales, and promotions. You can also order online at thelynchlocker.org. The Lynch Locker, show your friar spirit.
When it comes to football, the Friars take care of their house. When it comes to remodeling and renovation, Bella Vista takes care of your house. Whether it's a bathroom or kitchen remodel or renovating your entire home, Bella Vista is proud to bring the right team to your project. They'll make sure it's done right and on time. Bella Vista is also proud to support an equally dedicated team, the Bishop Lynch Friars, defending TAPS Division I state champions. Next time you remodel, renovate, or build, remember Bella Vista, the better way to a better home.
Looking for a great meal in the Casa Linda area? Then stop in at Highland Park Cafeteria. Highland Park Cafeteria is a local landmark where hearty American comfort foods are served cafeteria style. Located in the Casa Linda Plaza at Buckner and Garland Road, you don't have to go far to get a great meal. Dine in or pick up your meal and dessert to eat at home by ordering online at highlandparkcafeteria.com. Highland Park Cafeteria, a Dallas staple serving homemade goodness since 1925 and a proud supporter of Bishop Lynch Athletics.
Bishop Lynch High School is proud to announce Gage's Granite as the official homecoming sponsor for 2017. Gage's Granite is owned by a current BL family and operated right here in the Metroplex, offering custom granite, travertine, onyx, and marble countertops to homeowners and businesses since 2000. Give them a call today at 972-243-6097 or visit gagesgranite.com. You can also stop by the main showroom located at 2427 Glenda Lane in Dallas. Gage's Granite is another proud supporter of Bishop Lynch Athletics.
And welcome back to our 2017 Jam Sports Pro Sports Year in Review segment. We're now going to go in the NFL, or I guess you could say, kick it off to the NFL. The year started pretty good with the Super Bowl 51, with Tom Brady and the New England Patriots capturing, or really Tom Brady capturing his fifth ring, coming back down 28-3. I believe in the fourth quarter, the Falcons had a 98% chance of winning the game. I mean, what is that like, Jared, especially to be down by that much and then come back to win in overtime, which was the first one in all of the 51 years of the Super Bowl occurring?
Well, the only thing I could really think of that has something close to it, I don't really think, like this comeback that the Patriots and Tom Brady made over the Falcons, that's easily one of the best comebacks, if not the greatest comeback in all of sports. The only one that I could really think of that really is like maybe close is, I don't know if you remember about 5 years ago when the Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup over the Bruins. Bruins were winning 2-0 with 1 minute left, and the Blackhawks came back. And
or how about the Golden State Warriors in the 2016 NBA Finals, up 3-1, and they blew it to Cleveland. And then what's funny is then the Cleveland Indians blew a 3-1 lead the next year against the Chicago Cubs. Yes. So, and the number one thing I guess the Patriots are so good at is turning these guys, whether they be in a fast food restaurant like Malcolm Butler, who had one of the most infamous Super Bowl interceptions in Super Bowl 49, or Chris Hogan in where he was a lacrosse player, or Julian Edelman where he was a quarterback. They turn them into such elite players, and that's something that Bill Belichick is really good at. I don't know if you have anything really to say about Bill Belichick besides what I basically covered.
Bill Belichick, the only thing I can add is he's probably the greatest coach of all time, easily. There's really not much this man hasn't done. He started off with the Browns, and look at this. What do you think, Max? Do you think the Patriots' success is more about Tom Brady or Bill Belichick? The stuff.
Well, I think it's a collection of really both, because also you have to think about, well, Bill Belichick also helped develop Tom Brady as well as the offensive coordinator for the Patriots. I think Bill Belichick really, he reminds me of two coaches combined. Tom Landry, of course, from the Dallas Cowboys, and then Vince Lombardi from the Green Bay Packers. He really has both their attitudes of ambition and really player development in them. So then going on to this season, so far a lot of people have called this one of the worst seasons really in terms of intensity in play. Why do you think that is? Do you think it's because of all the injuries? And before we get on to your topic here, here's some of the big injuries so far. You have Odell Beckham Jr., Richard Sherman, J.J. Watt, Carson Wentz, who is probably going to be the MVP. Then you have Deshaun Watson. And, of course, as Stephen A. Smith says, the bad man of Aaron Rodgers. Do you think that's really the cause of that, or do you think it's really just the players and the intensity they bring to the field?
Well, we only really have, we only have 6 names. There's easily 20, 25 of the best stars in the NFL that are all out for the whole year. And I feel like, you had Deshaun Watson, same thing like Carson Wentz. Deshaun Watson, the Texans, when he was playing, they were lights out. Then he gets hurt and the Texans are trash. Carson Wentz, he easily was putting up the numbers that would have won the MVP. He probably even could have been unanimous. And then he tore his, believe it was his ACL.
I think it was his ACL. And then you have Aaron Rodgers, who broke his collarbone, leading the Packers on one of the best seasons. And then when he's out, then they put in, their backup quarterback, who I can't remember the name right now. It'll come to me later. Anyways, but the point is, they didn't do really much of a good job. And, and here they are. Now the Packers are out of elimination, whereas if Aaron Rodgers was there, they probably had a chance at the Super Bowl. And, of course, then you have J.J. Watt and Deshaun Watson for the Texans. They were looking like a great team, and now that happened. Do you think it really is, though, the injuries?
Yeah, well, in my opinion, I really think the injuries are like the biggest thing that, I could see people turning away. It's like, well, why do I want to watch the Texans if J.J. Watt's not playing? Why do I want to watch the Eagles if Carson Wentz is playing? And especially, why do I want to watch the Packers when
Brett Hundley's now in the game? That's the name. Yeah, and he actually did pretty good for the time being, I guess you could say.
Hard to be put in a situation like that.
Yeah, to fill the shoes of Aaron Rodgers. And now I guess you could go on to the Dallas Cowboys. Instead, they didn't have an injury, but they had a suspension of Ezekiel Elliott after months of battling a domestic violence charge when he was at Ohio State University, or the Ohio State University, however you pronounce it. He was finally instated between week 9 and week 15, so he, I believe, just came back last week or when we were recording this. So then you got to go to the point of, is the offense without Zeke, is that the Cowboys' kryptonite there? Because Dak is a good quarterback overall. He's a young guy. He was a third-round pick. He was really that diamond in the rough. But then you don't have Zeke, and your O-line doesn't have much to deal with, nor does Dak. Dak's got to throw to receivers that are very inconsistent, like Cole Beasley. Now Cole Beasley's a pretty good wide receiver, but then you go to Terrence Williams. What else do you have besides Jason Witten and Des Bryant? You don't have much.
Really, what I think with Elliott and all that, for the first part of the games, for the first 3 games that he missed, they weren't really throwing the ball. They had Alfred Morris played really good.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He played amazing. The backup running back.
Honestly, when they signed Alfred Morris, I was shocked they did, because that's a really great backup, especially for Ezekiel Elliott.
Now the biggest thing that I noticed was the Cowboys were not throwing balls down the field.
Well,
and what they were doing,
have Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah,
that's literally their 2016 season of 13-3.
When he was out, when Elliott was out, and when Dak needed to throw the ball, they would just basically throw screens or slants. They weren't throwing the ball down the field. And then once, in the Giants game, in the Redskins game, then they began to throw further down the field. And look, Dak against the Giants, I think he threw for almost 400 yards.
And I definitely think that is something that the Cowboys can fix easily by, of course, developing more of a running back, or even so going out and drafting some wide receivers. But now we get into an interesting topic here with the NHL postseason. Of course, I don't know if you're really wanting to discuss this, because 2 of the number 1 team exits were, one, the Chicago Blackhawks being swept by the number 2 wild card team in the West, the Stanley Cup runner-up winners, the Nashville Predators. And then in the East, you have the Montreal Canadiens losing in 6 games to the first wild card in the East of the New York Rangers. Now, of course, we all know Jared is a humongous Chicago Blackhawk fan. And this is good because you could give really an analysis of what broke down. So I'll hand it off to you, and you can discuss really what went downhill for the Canadians and for the Blackhawks.
Well, starting off with the Canadians, they were playing a really, really hard team in the New York Rangers. The Eastern Conference, to me,
especially two really good goalie matchups. You have Carey Price
and Henrik Lundqvist.
Yeah,
and
two of the best goalies, or probably arguably the best goalies in the East.
The Canadians,
in
like
the NHL.
The Canadians had what they could not do was they had defensive problems, and that's something that the Rangers have a huge strength over the Canadians. The Rangers have Ryan McDonough, who's one of the best defensemen in the league, and they have especially Lundqvist. They allowed some of the fewest shots in the series, and going with the Canadians, some of the best players for them, current star Alex Radulov.
Yeah, we'll get into him in just a little bit, but go on.
And Carey Price, just proves to you not one person can win.
Yeah, especially that was also the downfall for our Dallas Stars last year. Especially, you had Kari Lehtinen and Enti Niemi, and they could not stop anything because our defense was just not there. And it wasn't like we got rid of our whole defense. It was like we got rid of one guy, which was Alex Goligoski, and then they just turned into that, which is really weird. And they were one of the worst teams in the NHL, and now this season they're having a pretty good year.
Now with the Chicago Blackhawks, it is one of those things where, it happens. It's not good. Nashville, they were an 8 seed, but see, hockey, it's not like basketball or college basketball where you're like the highest seed. When you play the lowest seed, that means that it doesn't really mean that team's bad.
I think it also relates to baseball. It's really what team is on the hot streak right now, and I think the Predators were on a really good hot streak, especially with Rinne having one of the best seasons. I believe it's Mike Rinne, right? Or is it
Pekka Rinne?
Pekka Rinne. Thank you. And then PK Subban, of course, who they got from the Montreal Canadiens.
To me, what I had for them was they had the better defense. They clearly Chicago had the first 2 games on home ice at the United Center. You got people like, at the time, you had Kane, Panarin, Taves, Anisimov, and you had Keith, Crawford, and all them. They did not score one single goal on home ice, which pretty much tells you that Predators defense with Ryan Ellis, Matthias Ekholm, Roman Josi, and PK Subban, and most importantly, Pekka Rinne, helped them get all the way to the cup. And really, they were 1 game away.
Yeah, and that then leads into the game with the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Nashville Predators then going into 6 games in the Stanley Cup with, of course, the Penguins winning. I don't think we need to discuss this much because the MVP was Sidney Crosby, who is arguably the best player in hockey right now.
Yeah, I just, watching that is kind of hard to vote against the Predators because, when your team gets swept out of the first round, you got to cheer for the team that beats them.
No, you don't.
Well,
you don't have to do that.
Well,
I think it's the opposite.
I need to have a team to cheer for. I just couldn't stand
that does make sense.
I can't stand the Penguins. Just really like Crosby. I don't really like him that much because he's like a baby.
Yeah, that's true, but he is an amazing
player.
No,
don't get me wrong. He is one of the best players in the league. But if you're just asking me, if I had the choice, I think Malkin. I would take Evgeny Malkin right now over Crosby just with the way he plays.
And now, I guess moving forward now into the offseason, it was a very chaotic offseason, but I really want to hone in on the Dallas Stars offseasons because they really did make 2 big splashes. They made a couple more that were little splashes, but they really did help. But the 2 big ones, of course, were getting Alexander Radulov and then trading for Ben Bishop. Of course, what were then the impacts for Ben Bishop and Alexander Radulov, or so far how they impacted the team?
Well, they've impacted the team tremendously, especially Alexander Radulov. You've been watching some of the Stars games, right?
Yeah, I've been watching some of the Stars, especially, Ben Bishop has done a really great job. Not many people understand why he's such a different goalie than, I guess, everyone else. He's 6'9". He's a big goalie.
He's the biggest goalie in the league. It's not even close. And what the biggest thing, Radulov, it's the power play. Watching the power play last year, they had Spezza, Sagan, Ben, and Sharp.
Yeah, and now look at their first line. It's not Spezza. It's Radulov, Ben, and Sagan. It's one of the best lines in hockey.
And they have, the biggest thing with the Stars is then you have the people, with the other thing, the biggest thing, Ken Hitchcock is back, and
1999 Stanley Cup winner for the Dallas Stars.
He helped. There are these young kids. The minor leagues in hockey is like a little bit different than.
There's multiple levels.
Well, that's baseball. Like hockey, you have your minor league team. Like you have people who will bounce back and forth, like back to backs. You'll have somebody that comes up. Well, the Stars have arguably had the best farm system in hockey, and
I mean, we could just name some names: Brett Ritchie, Julius Honka, then Miro Hastanek, who they just got, who's going to be a promising player. And then I guess really the big thing for the offseason was the 31st team in the AHL coming into the league, which was the Las Vegas Golden Knights. They started out with the best start in expansion history, I believe since 1963, with an 8-1 record. So, of course, you are basically what we call our hockey expert here at JM Sports. When could you see them winning the Cup?
Now, it could be, like, you never know. It could be this year, but what impressed me the most with the Vegas Golden Knights is the fact that early on in the year, Marc-Andre Fleury got hurt. Malcolm Subban, who happens to be P.K. Subban's brother, he got hurt. So they're down to their third and fourth goalies.
Yeah, and they've still done amazing this season, which really does show they have that, I guess, goalie farm system that is going to really help them. Especially, it's great to have that for an expansion team.
The other problem that they had, that third goalie got hurt. So now they're on their minor league backup and then their bench goalie in minor leagues, and they bring him up. And, you see, like, expansions, they're also, because you have 31, you kind of want to have an even amount of teams.
Who do you think then's going to be the next one? What I personally think is it's either going to be Halifax and Nova Scotia, which is the birthplace of Sidney Crosby. Then you have Quebec City and then Seattle. Now, I don't know if you have any other big ones, but I think those are the three big ones.
You nailed it. I could see Halifax maybe, but I don't think there'd be an expansion for like Halifax. I think that'd be like a team relocating, like maybe the Ottawa Senators, which I've been hearing a lot lately. The owner saying he can't understand why fans aren't coming to the games, and
and that's definitely something. Yeah, that's sometimes what you gotta do, especially. It's interesting. Then we go to the NFL with the Oakland Raiders. They still have such a big fan base, and now they're thinking about moving to Las Vegas. It doesn't make sense.
But I will tell you, I guarantee you, because it's pretty serious right now in the NHL regarding expansion. I bet Seattle has a team in 5 years, 6 years.
And then what do you think about for the Cup, for the Golden Knights? When do you think they can win?
It could be really, like I said, it could be any time. I'd be shocked if it was this year.
Well, I think everyone would be shocked. It'd be a first, especially.
It'd be the shortest time to even get to the Cup. And, many people, I believe the Vegas Golden Knights opened up with the 500-1 odds of winning the Cup.
Yeah, I believe so.
And that's ridiculous. And I believe they have the best record in the NHL at home. And they're not far ahead from the Stars.
Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for the NHL and NFL. We're going to cut to commercial break here and hear from some of our sponsors. Make sure to stay here as our next topic will be both NCAA basketball and for the NBA, and especially the NBA's offseason being very hectic. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned.
One box combo, please.
At Raising Cane's, we do one thing, and we do it better than anyone else. So why not let our food do the talking? We hand mix our sauce in our restaurants every day, and our chicken is hand breaded when you order. Our Texas toast is grilled with just the right amount of butter and garlic. Top it all off with a fresh squeezed lemonade. Our box combo really speaks for itself. Raising Cane's, only the best chicken finger meals. One love.
Are you buying a home and looking for financing? Lone Star Home Lending is a mortgage lender whose objective is to deliver efficient access to home loans with passion, pride, and integrity, focusing on government, conventional, jumbo, and alternative qualification loans. Lone Star Home Lending is always looking to improve the service and commitment they make to their customers and to the communities they live and work in to accomplish their vision to be the most dynamic and trusted home lender. Visit Lone Star Home Lending today at GoLoneStar.com.
Celebrating 26 years of being family-owned and operated, Burt Roofing is an insured, full-service roofing contractor. Nicole Burt McElwee, Vice President of Burt Roofing, is a proud graduate of Bishop Lynch and a resident and supporting member of the East Dallas community. Call Burt Roofing at 214-321-9341 or 972-386-7663 today for a free estimate on your residential or commercial roofing needs. Burt Roofing. They were here yesterday. They'll be here tomorrow.
I'm Randy Kelly. All eyes are on Houston right now, but my heart, it's in Rockport. My wife and I have gone fishing there for years. Great family memories. The Eye of Harvey blasted right over Rockport and took most of the town along with it. Good people there. David, Austin, Jackie, Virginia. It's a tiny town, but they need big help. Go to theontimeexperts.com/Rockport to see what you can do now. Stand strong, Texas.
What's up, Friar fans? This is Rod the Realtor. Congrats on your 2016 state championship. I want to remind you that myself and the Coldwell Banker team are here to support all of your real estate needs. Call me at 469-660-4000 or visit householdconnect.com or just stop by and say hi at the games. Again, this is Rod the Realtor and the Coldwell Banker team. Bishop Lynch is home of champions, home of community, home. Go Friars.
And welcome back again, as now we're going to turn it over to the basketball side of news. Going on with college basketball, let's review, March Madness 2017. There were many upsets, which were, of course, let's start off with number 12 Mid-Tennessee upsetting number 5 Minnesota in the very first round. Then you had the number 8 Wisconsin Badgers upsetting the 2016 March Madness champions of the Villanova Wildcats, who were the number 1 seed in the second round. And then you go to Xavier having 2 big upsets, one in the second round going to number 3 Florida State, and then number 2 Arizona in the third round. And again, they were a number 11 seed, so they were doing really good. I believe they exited then in the fourth round. I forget to who. But then we go into the semifinal games with number 1 North Carolina beating number 3 Oregon with the score of 77-76.
Very close.
Very close. And then you had number 1 Gonzaga beating number 7 South Carolina 77-73. Then you go into the championship game with the North Carolina Tar Heels defeating the number 1 Gonzaga Bulldogs with a score of 71-65. Now, it's very interesting because Gonzaga has never been to a Final Four championship, and it seemed like they were almost blowing the game away at the last part. I mean, do you have any opinion
now,
on that?
It's kind of with college basketball, it's like one of the least favorite, I don't know how to say, I don't really like the way they handle the drafts and all that, because you got teams that's like a 1 year and done because people leave.
Yeah, I think that's the number one thing that really college basketball and the NBA have to fix. You know, the one and done rule is not good. It's either don't go at all or stay maybe 1 or 2 or maybe 2 or 3 years. I mean, that would make more sense.
I use this point because North Carolina, they have the coaching staff because they've been there. Mm-hmm. They can tell the kids, okay, this is what it's going to feel like if we get into the finals. Because, you got basically a new team every year. Mm-hmm. So they tell the kids, hey, this is what it's like to be playing deep in a tournament. And Gonzaga never really had that. And Gonzaga's, like you said, never played in a championship game. So it's kind of hard. The coaches didn't know what it was like to be in the finals.
Yeah, and I think now we got to go into... Everyone kind of knew we were going to bring these guys up, the Ball family here and Big Baller Brand. LaMelo Ball and LiAngelo Ball actually signed with the Lithuanian Basketball League. They signed a $4,000 1-year deal to play overseas. I mean, do you think LeVar's now making just to get publicity, or do you think he's really trying to get his kids to the NBA? Because it seems like he's making them bust already. I mean, LiAngelo's incident over in China didn't help at all. I mean, what do you think about that?
Well, with LaMelo, I can see hope, but college NCAA is probably
in the second round, a late second round.
If you're going to take your kids to Europe, I don't think Lithuania is the best chance to do that or the best shot to get teams to look at him. I would have gone to, if I was him, I probably would have gone to Spain. Mm-hmm. But then you have.
Why do you think Spain?
Because have you heard the potential number 1 draft pick? I've got his name.
Yes.
But he plays for actually, Real Madrid.
Yeah.
You got a
There's a
basketball
soccer team and a basketball team. They also have that, I believe, for FC Barcelona, if I'm not mistaken.
You know, did you hear, I think it was either yesterday or the day before, LeVar Ball, the father of the kids.
Well, yesterday when we recorded this.
He made a league for high school graduates of high school to if they don't want to go play college basketball, they can join his league. But the key, would you do this?
No, I wouldn't do that.
Would you go to
why
his
would
league?
you? I mean, why would you skip one of the greatest experiences of college basketball and then go to this random league? How is this going to get you to the NBA?
Would you go join his league just so you can get big baller apparel?
No, because it's overpriced. It's overpriced. It's literally Gildan T-shirts and sneaker Converse you can go get from Academy or something for about $50, and he sells it for $4.95. So then I guess before we get onto a rant about LeVar Ball, I guess we should go then to Women's March Madness. Not many upsets here, but there was a humongous upset. Well, if on paper it doesn't look like an upset, but it's an upset if you look at the backstory about it. Number 1 UConn was beat by number 2 Mississippi State by the score of 66-64. Now, Jared, at first when you look at this, it's a number 2 seed being a number 1 seed. Not that much out of the norm. But what is so big about this?
Well, UConn, you know, behind their head coach, their legendary head coach, Gina Ariema, UConn was on a 111 game winning streak, which that goes, I think I would guess is 3 years, 4 years?
About 3 or 4 years.
And imagine that, you know, you 111 games in a row. And most of the games that they played were not even close.
Yeah.
They killed.
And they're still, playing top tier teams. Now, of course, they're not a number 1 seed or whatever, but they're still really great top tier teams like SMU, other ones like UCF and all that. So then I guess that transitions over into the NBA with the 2016 and 2017 season, ending, of course, like the past 3 with the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals. Not much of a surprise anymore. The Warriors, though, killed the Cavaliers in 5 games. I mean, you just look at some of these numbers here with LeBron averaging 33.6 points per game, 12 rebounds a game, 10 assists per game, 1.4 steals a game, and 1 block a game. He was really carrying the Cavs.
You can tell now, Kyrie did okay. I mean, he was averaging 30 points, but LeBron averaged a triple-double a game, which, if we need to explain that's you have double-digit points, double-digit assists, double-digit rebounds.
Basically, in 3 categories, you have double-digit anything. I mean, you just look at some of these numbers, and then the Warriors have almost, I think, the lowest scorer out of the 4 being Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, and Steph Curry was Draymond Green with like 11.4 points a game. And then that really leads to the point is LeBron James going to again leave Cleveland?
I feel like, I don't know what you think, but I think LeBron will. I think
I could see him easily leaving.
I could see him because, I have no problem with what he did with wanting to go play for Miami with his best friend.
Yeah, because, of course, you didn't have much there anyways. I mean, Chris Bosh then joined after him. Yeah, it's not like, for example, Kevin Durant, the number 1 thing, joining a super team where he was already a contender with the Oklahoma City Thunder.
LeBron was, once he went back to Cleveland, they weren't nearly as good Miami was after LeBron left. So I think LeBron, I feel like he would go to Los Angeles. And then, the Lakers, they have enough money, cap space, where they could get 2 franchise players like a LeBron James, a Paul George, to go with the other ball, Lonzo.
Yeah, Lonzo. So then, of course, glad you mentioned that as we go into the offseason now. The biggest one, of course, happened on the 4th of July. As always, there's always some type of free agency drama on the 4th of July. This year was Gordon Hayward inking a 4-year, $128 million deal with the Boston Celtics, and then joining him would be Kyrie Irving from the Cleveland Cavaliers in a trade where Cleveland then got Isaiah Thomas.
I felt so bad for Gordon Hayward. He earned every dollar of getting that contract.
Yeah, especially even so, he didn't join to go join a super team.
No,
you have to know the backstory. And
he wanted to go play. A lot of people don't know the backstory. The head coach for the Boston Celtics, Brad Stevens, was Gordon Hayward's head coach, and I believe he played college ball at Providence.
No, it was at Butler, and if you don't remember, or if you're unaware, Butler went back-to-back. Now, of course, Gordon Hayward almost had the game-winning shot versus Duke. But, yeah, I mean, you got to feel bad for him.
Because that was one of the worst. Now, you see injuries all the time, but...
I mean, we go down the list like Kevin Ware in the NCAA, and then you have Paul George and all these guys, but this was probably the worst, especially with the backstory about the whole thing.
Yeah, and, you had trades. This was...
Yeah, like I said, Isaiah Thomas going to...
Not only did you have that, but then you had now a free agency deal. Paul Millsap went out to help with Denver Nuggets signing a 4-year.
I guess it's very interesting because really you have Jokic out in Denver, but what else? I mean, and then you go with Chris Paul then getting traded to the Houston Rockets, joining James Harden.
And they are actually number one currently right now in the Western Conference.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've seen a couple games lately, but that duo of CP3 and James Harden is unbelievable.
Capella, too.
Clint Capella.
Yeah.
He was a rookie a couple years ago. I actually got to meet him. Very humble guy, but I could tell this guy had some promise and potential. And then you go to another deal. Jimmy Butler then going out to Minnesota to come help with the big three of Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins. Now, the question with that, the Timberwolves have such a young core. Can they build a dynasty like the Warriors?
I easily. Now, these teams, like you're saying, these guys are so young. And the Warriors guys, it's actually, they're kind of older than you'd really think, because Steph Curry, if you know what a late bloomer is.
Yeah.
He was.
I mean, he was in the league for what, 7 years, I believe. He's
5-6 years before he was.
Yeah, I think he joined in 2009-2010 season.
And give it 3 years, 4 years, because Cat's gonna be amazing.
He already is, and then you got Andrew Wiggins, who's blooming now, and then of course you have Jimmy Butler, who's showing his potential and all that. And then, of course, then you have the big one, Carmelo Anthony and Paul George, then going to Oklahoma City in trades to join the 2016-2017 NBA season MVP of Russell Westbrook. Now, you would think that's a really great trio, right? Well, they haven't done that well. They've been on...
It seems like they haven't built the chemistry
yet. I mean, it's the talent's there, it's the chemistry, and that's all about teams.
That's what wins your games. It's like, you got the Warriors, you got the talent, but what's most important?
Chemistry they built, especially the fact, they've basically been around each other for the whole time.
What if the Cavs had chemistry like Kyrie didn't want to leave? Could the series have been different?
Well, I mean, that was 2016 and all that. But I think that wraps up again with college basketball and NBA basketball. Make sure to stay here as we are about to go to commercial break and hear from some of our sponsors. As next, we're going to be talking about the MLB and its free agency with such drama, I guess you could say, with the Shohei Ohtani drama as well as major trades. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
To get your yard into shape, Keen Landscaping can help. Their mission is to be your #1 choice for landscaping teams in Dallas. Since 1980, Keen Landscaping has been known for their outstanding customer service and superior results. That's why Keen Landscaping is the most respected landscaping company in the Metroplex. You can find out more by visiting them online at keenlandscaping.com or by calling 972-424-4851. Excellence is always their goal, and it's evident by the work they do. Keen Landscaping, second to none.
The Lynch Locker, the official spirit store at Bishop Lynch High School, has everything you need to make your inner friar happy. They offer a large variety of Bishop Lynch spirit wear, including Nike, Champion, and Under Armour items. You'll also find friar-themed gifts and school supplies. Drop in and shop during regular school days as well as select games and special events. Follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for updates on hours, new merchandise sales, and promotions. You can also order online at thelynchlocker.org. The Lynch Locker, show your friar spirit.
When it comes to football, the Friars take care of their house. When it comes to remodeling and renovation, Bella Vista takes care of your house. Whether it's a bathroom or kitchen remodel or renovating your entire home, Bella Vista is proud to bring the right team to your project. They'll make sure it's done right and on time. Bella Vista is also proud to support an equally dedicated team, the Bishop Lynch Friars, defending TAP's Division I state champions. Next time you remodel, renovate, or build, remember Bella Vista, the better way to a better home.
Looking for a great meal in the Casa Linda area? Then stop in at Highland Park Cafeteria. Highland Park Cafeteria is a local landmark where hearty American comfort foods are served cafeteria style. Located in the Casa Linda Plaza at Buckner and Garland Road, you don't have to go far to get a great meal. Dine in or pick up your meal and dessert to eat at home by ordering online at highlandparkcafeteria.com. Highland Park Cafeteria, a Dallas staple serving homemade goodness since 1925 and a proud supporter of Bishop Lynch Athletics.
Bishop Lynch High School is proud to announce Gage's Granite as the official homecoming sponsor for 2017. Gage's Granite is owned by a current BL family and operated right here in the Metroplex, offering custom granite, travertine, onyx, and marble countertops to homeowners and businesses since 2000. Give them a call today at 972-243-6097 or visit gagesgranite.com. You can also stop by the main showroom located at 2427 Glenda Lane in Dallas. Gage's Granite is another proud supporter of Bishop Lynch Athletics.
And welcome back to our 2017 Jam Sports Pro Sports Year in Review, as now we're going to kick it over to the MLB. Of course, it was one of the most exciting ones of all time, one of the most exciting seasons, of course. It was all the way exciting from opening day of 2017 to then the 2017 World Series of Game 7. Of course, it was the most home runs ever in a season with 6,105 plus homers in the season. And that doesn't even include the postseason. That was just the regular season.
And then you have Giancarlo Stanton, the NL MVP. He was 1 away from 60 home runs. He had 59. And then a late bloomer, just like Steph Curry, Jose Altuve, which, you know, we got to give this man a lot of credit. He's one of the shortest ball players in the MLB.
I'm pretty sure he's the shortest. He's 5'5", I'm pretty sure.
He might be the shortest, but he took home the AL MVP honors. And, you know, home runs. Here are two more guys who hit a lot of home runs.
Cody Bellinger, who took home the NL Rookie of the Year, and then Aaron Judge, who was the AL Rookie of the Year and also took home the 2017 Home Run Derby winner.
What do you
Giancarlo Stanton.
What do you think if Aaron Judge, usually when people go participate in the Home Run Derby, there's like a slump right after that.
Yeah, he did have that.
Do you think Aaron Judge, I did hear, was also hurt himself, which
he did. And he was in a slump too.
Do you think, had he not participated in the Home Run Derby, do you think he would have beaten out on him?
Well, you know, for the AL, well, the number one thing about it is you can't tell that, because number one, I play baseball, of course, and the number one thing every single baseball player will tell you is it's all about the mentality aspect. If you're in 3 games and you haven't gotten hit, you're going to be way down in the lows. But if you've gotten in 3 games, 7 or 8 hits, you're going to be way up high in the highs. So it really all depends on the mentality, and you could tell Aaron Judge's mentality was just not there. And the number one thing, of course, about Jose Altuve, he had that mentality all the way to Game 7 of the World Series.
I believe he had a high 20s or low 30s hitting streak, where you get
I think he had a
26 or 27 game hitting streak.
Something like that. So then, of course, going into the postseason, besides the World Series, then you have one of the biggest upsets, I guess you could say, with the Cleveland Indians being upset by the New York Yankees.
No, I remember watching that AL wildcard game between the Yankees and Twins, and the Twins got off to a quick start, and I was like, oh, the Yankees done already? Mm-hmm. And then no, turns out that they come back and win. And then I thought for sure, they beat the Twins. I thought they're going to...
there's no way you're going to beat the number one team in the AL, but then they come out of nowhere and beat them. Of course, well, not only that, but you had to go against Francisco Lindor and all those guys, especially Trevor Bauer as well. Trevor Bauer did pretty good in his performances in there. And then it all came down to the World Series of this year between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Houston Astros. In 7 games, 7 thrilling and exciting games, the Astros prevailed, becoming World Series champions for the first time in their franchise history.
I remember, because see, I get Sports Illustrated magazines. My mother gets them from me. And I remember 3 years ago, I got the issue. 3 years ago, Sports Illustrated predicted that the Houston Astros would win the World Series this year, and they did. And I remember looking at it, it's like, there's no way. And
So
look
then,
at it.
really, the question is, how did the Astros then come up and build this dynasty?
Well,
of course, because they
really,
had so many prospects.
Really, the biggest thing is, the constant 100 losses. That's what helped them get Correa, Springer,
Bregman,
and Bregman,
as well as Altuve.
and Altuve. But really, they were doing amazing the whole time and during the season. But then it's like, after the trade deadline, I believe Dallas Keuchel and a few others criticized the higher-ups in the organization, like the GM or president, going, hey, how come we didn't get anything to get better?
Yeah.
And then they wait, exactly. Then they wait till August for the waiver deadline, and they get Justin Verlander, who happened to be their most clutch pitcher in the World Series.
Then you also have Lance McCullers and all them. So I'm glad you brought that up with signings, as now we're going to get into free agency and how big of a free agency this one has been. It seems like we're having a signing every single day, but of course the biggest thing so far in this offseason is the Shohei Ohtani sweepstakes. It was a very interesting sweepstakes. So at first he's like, okay, I want to sign with a small market team at the West Coast. What doesn't seem right about that?
Well, he had...
If I'm going to the West Coast, two of the teams, it came down to the San Diego Padres, San Francisco Giants, the Los Angeles Angels, and the Los Angeles Dodgers, and then you have the Texas Rangers and Seattle Mariners.
Now,
Los Angeles is one of the biggest cities, and sure enough, he goes and signs with the Angels.
Maybe, with the Angels, Anaheim, I think the market's a little, Anaheim's maybe 30 minutes to an hour away from downtown Los Angeles.
That's true.
So it's a little bit different, you can go over.
But still, it's Los Angeles.
Exactly.
But then the question is, Seattle was the favorite to pick him up, right? What could the Angels have said that Seattle didn't have, besides the fact they have the greatest player in baseball?
That's pretty much what I would.
Exactly. I mean,
I don't know, because then you get to the other trades. They re-signed Justin Upton. That was a big move for them.
Don't forget they got
former Ranger second baseman.
But
just getting players they're saying, hey, I'm thinking with the Angels. They go, hey, you would be at the top of our rotation. And then also, since he wants to bat too, they go,
he's gonna be a DH.
He's gonna be a DH.
And I liked how everyone was saying, he's going to go to the NL. Well, why would you bat 1 out of the 5 games versus maybe 2 or 3? That doesn't make sense.
Now, with the Angels, the biggest thing that I got to give them props to, don't waste Mike Trout's prime. He's in the height of his career right now.
It's not like basketball where you can bring in a LeBron James and start winning games. One guy isn't going to carry a team. You got 8 other guys out there.
They are very rarely are there cases like that in baseball or hockey or other sports.
There's
baseball you have maybe, with the Rockies, you got Nolan Arenado. If you take him off of the Rockies, I believe that they wouldn't be the same, or vice versa. Same with the Diamondbacks. Mm-hmm. I don't think with Paul Goldschmidt, I don't think they'd be any good. But
so then that goes to the question. I don't think. Well, what do you think about Ohtani? Do you think he's going to be a bust, or do you think he's going to be really good?
As we have down here, he has a partially torn UCL, and he has something floating in his arm. If he needs,
what people are saying, he's probably going to need it here in about 2 or 3 years, especially the fact that he throws 102.
Now, if it was me, I would rather, if I was Shohei Ohtani, get the surgery done now. Because you don't know what you could be if you want to pitch now.
Right.
You don't know if it's going to screw up your arm for the rest of your life.
Especially even so, with rehab, it makes them even throw stronger. So he could come back and be throwing 103, 104 consistently.
It depends. I think he will be a bust this year.
But give it time.
Give it time. I think he's going to be a little bit better.
Yeah, and then, of course, going on.
Keep in mind, he's only 23.
That's true.
24.
And then going on with Giancarlo Stanton. We mentioned him. He was the former NL MVP of this year. He was traded to the Yankees for Starlin Castros and 2 other prospects. Now, the thing about it, Starlin Castro's not what he used to be on the Cubs, and they didn't even get two top 100 prospects.
I really thought, because you know what we could mention with the other trades now? Maybe we can make a little joke. Maybe Derek Jeter's just trying to help out the Yankees.
Yeah, that's probably
But, the biggest thing that, I see is like, I don't know, because I know the Marlins with Derek Jeter is one of the head owners now. They're trying to significantly cut payroll.
Yeah. Now the Yankees will be taking on $265 million of the $295 million contract of Stanton, and they have him for 13 more years.
If it was me, I would try to get Clint Frazier. Clint Frazier would be the guy that be like, hey, he needs to be your outfielder, because then you could go with the combo like, hey, maybe Christian Yelich isn't going to want to leave either. So then you have...
Yeah, Yelich is really their future at this point.
And I've been hearing they want to trade him. And going back with the prospects that you're talking about.
I just don't understand how you can't get anything for the Yankees. The Yankees are probably the best farm system in the MLB, and you get two guys that no one's ever heard of.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Then Evan Longoria, the franchise of the Tampa Bay Rays, the third baseman, the Giants gave up way more just to get Evan Longoria, which, right, he is an amazing, an amazing third baseman, Longoria is, but somebody like Christian Arroyo is like somebody that you'd give up to get like somebody like Giancarlo Stanton, but yet for some reason Jeter didn't want prospects.
Yeah, and especially then you have another guy who they trade, Marcell Ozuna, going to the Cardinals. Now, again, what are the Marlins thinking here? If they want to go into full rebuild, why are you getting these guys who are probably never going to break the MLB?
This year, you have, with the Marlins, there's so many people, very few people have now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you still got guys like J.D. Martinez, Zach Greinke, Manny Machado, Matt Harvey, and then you got Josh.
You got trades like you got Zach Greinke who could be traded. Who's rumored to maybe the Rangers might get him. Yeah,
those have been put out because of, I believe, Mike Minor. I believe they signed.
Mike Minor is he's another Tommy John guy, but no, really, there's enough people in the trade rumors and in free agency that you could field for a pretty decent team. Like, you got Hosmer, who the Rangers, I would love for them.
Yeah, that'd be a really great first baseman because, of course, they do need someone other than Mike Napoli. The analogy I give to Mike Napoli is he's like a car alarm, right? Mm-hmm. He's there, but it doesn't solve the problem. Someone's still going to break into the car, right?
Yes.
He's there, he'll make some noise a little bit, but he's not going to solve the full problem. Once you got rid of, when Prince Fielder got injured and he had to retire early, and then when you get rid of Mitch Moreland, who else do you have? Mike Napoli's not that big of a player anymore. Now, he used to be. But, of course, there's still a lot to deal with here in the MLB offseason. Stay tuned here. The next one, we're going to go into a memorial for all the fallen players, owners, whatever, in the sports world. We're going to be showing that there in just a second. You don't want to miss that. And we'll also be talking about what to look forward in 2018. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
One box combo, please.
At Raising Cane's, we do one thing, and we do it better than anyone else. So why not let our food do the talking? We hand mix our sauce in our restaurants every day, and our chicken is hand breaded when you order. Our Texas toast is grilled with just the right amount of butter and garlic. Top it all off with a fresh squeezed lemonade. Our box combo really speaks for itself. Raising Cane's, only the best chicken finger meals. One love.
Are you buying a home and looking for financing? Lone Star Home Lending is a mortgage lender whose objective is to deliver efficient access to home loans with passion, pride, and integrity, focusing on government, conventional, jumbo, and alternative qualification loans. Lone Star Home Lending is always looking to improve the service and commitment they make to their customers and to the communities they live and work in to accomplish their vision to be the most dynamic and trusted home lender. Visit Lone Star Home Lending today at GoLoneStar.com.
Celebrating 26 years of being family-owned and operated, Burt Roofing is an insured, full-service roofing contractor. Nicole Burt McElwee, Vice President of Burt Roofing, is a proud graduate of Bishop Lynch and a resident and supporting member of the East Dallas community. Call Burt Roofing at 214-321-9341 or 972-386-7663 today for a free estimate on your residential or commercial roofing needs. Burt Roofing. They were here yesterday. They'll be here tomorrow.
I'm Randy Kelly. All eyes are on Houston right now, but my heart, it's in Rockport. My wife and I have gone fishing there for years. Great family memories. The Eye of Harvey blasted right over Rockport and took most of the town along with it. Good people there. David, Austin, Jackie, Virginia. It's a tiny town, but they need big help. Go to theontimeexperts.com/Rockport to see what you can do now. Stand strong, Texas.
What's up, Friar fans? This is Rod the Realtor. Congrats on your 2016 state championship. I want to remind you that myself and the Coldwell Banker team are here to support all of your real estate needs. Call me at 469-660-4000 or visit householdconnect.com or just stop by and say hi at the games. Again, this is Rod the Realtor and the Coldwell Banker team. Bishop Lynch is home of champions, home of community, home. Go Friars.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again. Why'd you have to leave so soon, yeah? Why'd you have to go? Why'd you have to leave me when I needed you the most? 'Cause I don't really know how to tell you without feeling much worse. I know you're in a better place, but it's always gonna hurt. Carry on, give me all the strength I need to carry on. It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again. How do I breathe without you? I'm feeling so cold. I'll be waiting right here for you till the day you're home. Carry on, give me all the strength I need to carry on. So let the light guide your way. Yeah. Hold every memory as you go, and every road you take will always lead you home. Oh, it's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again. When I see you again, see you again.
And welcome back, of course. Hopefully you enjoyed our memorial video. Of course, we wish a rest in peace to all the fallen athletes. Of course, we've seen so many of them growing up and listening to them, like Dave Strader on the radio
And,
for the Dallas
you know,
Stars,
like-
and then Roy Halladay.
Roy Halladay is like one of the first pitchers that we actually watch. It's like, you wait to see when people you watch get into the Hall of Fame. Well, then Roy Halladay could have, or well, he very well could be.
I remember on the day we just got done with baseball, and the whole baseball team was like, Roy Halladay died? I mean, everyone was shocked by it. I was heartbroken by it because he was one of my favorite pitchers.
Somebody told me about it in math class. Say, hey, Roy Halladay died? No, I don't believe you. So I have to look it up and hear about
he died in a plane accident.
Dave Strader, like, me and you like hockey a lot. And, listening to Dave Strader.
It's like listening to the Stanley Cup 24/7.
And, 2018 is going to be a huge year.
Yeah, I think now transitioning now onto more of a happier note. What to look forward now in 2018? You want to start off, Jared, with your favorite moment, I guess?
So every year now, recently they play 3 times a year or 2 times a year.
I believe it's
the
3.
NHL plays
3 with
an outdoor game. Now it originally started off with the NHL Winter Classic,
which will this year be on January 1st at 12 p.m. at Citi Field
and
in New York.
To give you a little background on the Winter Classic, most of these kids, whether it's the Canadian kids, the foreign like Swedish, Finnish, all those
down here in Texas, we don't really have that much of pond hockey.
Exactly, that's what all these kids grew up playing outdoors.
So it really is kind of like that home, I guess you could say, the back home.
Actually, 10 years ago to the date of the Winter Classic, January 1st, that will mark the 10-year anniversary of the very first Winter Classic.
And I believe it was played between the Buffalo Sabres and the Pittsburgh Penguins.
And Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, and then we go on to the 2018 College Football Playoff Championship game, which will be in Atlanta at the new Mercedes-Benz Stadium on January 8th at 8 p.m. Go on.
Do you know if they might have Chick-fil-A in the stadium?
Well, it depends if it's on a Sunday. If it's on a Sunday, it's going to be closed, which is very interesting. You build a Chick-fil-A inside the stadium, and most of your games are on Sundays, and they're closed.
It's actually weird. It's actually the other way around.
What do you mean?
It's actually open on Sundays.
Really?
I went to the actual stadium, and speaking of that, I believe it was the Cowboys game.
Sundays.
Wow. I believe it was the Cowboys game when they played in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That was the first time they had their Chick-fil-A open.
Really?
Now,
I did not know that. I know at first they weren't going to do that, of course. Then going on, of course, you have the 2018 NHL All-Star Game in Los Angeles. That will be between January 28th and January 29th. Following that, of course, will be the Pro Bowl. Well, really, it's going to be on the same date on January 28th. And then, of course, going on to kind of everyone's favorite time of the year for the football world.
Commercials. That's the biggest
That's
thing,
a big one, too. Super Bowl 52 in Minnesota.
That's a gorgeous stadium.
That will be on February 4th. And, of course, I wonder who's now going to be performing for halftime for that, because it's been a very, very interesting one. We've had Lady Gaga.
I've heard Justin Timberlake. I believe it's Justin Timberlake.
I'd watch that.
And, something me and you look forward to. And it's going to be interesting that, now you got the Winter Olympics in Pyongyang, South Korea. Now, me and you always watch, whenever, they have international hockey, me and you tend to like to watch that.
But of course, I think we're all going to hone in on the USA versus Canada game.
It's going to be a little bit different because
Unless there's
amateurs or retired players will now be able to play in the Olympics, which is the way it used to be. It never used to be that the NHL players could play. And imagine what it'd be like if the NBA decided not to go to the Summer Olympics. And I can't remember where it is, where it's supposed to be in 2020.
Mm-hmm. Canada could probably pull Wayne Gretzky out of the hat. You never know what they could pull out.
Maybe the United States could pull out Mike Modano.
That's true. He probably still has it in him. Going on then, you have the 2018 NBA All-Star Game in Los Angeles. That will be on February 18th at 7 p.m. Then you have the 2018 March Madness and Final Four, which will be between March 13th, and the championship game will be on April 2nd. And the men's tournament will be in San Antonio, following the women's, which will be in Columbus, Ohio.
And me and you, the NBA, basketball is okay for me, but once it gets to playoffs, I watch. And, there's a saying,
for people who don't watch hockey, there's nothing like playoff hockey.
It's very
especially
intense.
overtime.
Or what about the playoff beers?
Exactly.
How about
They
that?
got the playoff beers, like, you know, like, for example, we get a picture of Brent Burns or on the Sharks. There is nothing like overtime in playoff hockey.
Yeah, and then going on to the FIFA World Cup, which will be played in Russia this year. That will be between June 14th and July 15th. Now, the USA will not be in that due to a loss, I believe. I forget who was against who. Was it Morocco?
No, it was, I believe it was Trinidad.
Trinidad. Yeah, that sounds familiar. If we'll put it on the screen, how about that?
Yeah,
that sound fine.
And then,
we'll put it on the screen right there. So there's who they lost to in the final score.
Then, one of my favorites, and I'm pretty sure your favorites, the MLB All-Star Game, which will be played in Washington, D.C. Now, you know, me and you, I don't know what you think about the new way they do the All-Star Game.
I don't like it at all. I think that really plays a key part, because what if you have something like the NBA where it's, you know, the Western Conference is all stacked, and then you have the Eastern Conference that's very tiny with not many good teams besides the Boston Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Then we ended off with the year with the World Series and the MLB postseason between September and October. It will be very, very interesting. Oh yeah, by the way, it's also November. Forgot to mention that. It's starting to go now into November.
Yeah, because especially like this World Series, I believe it ended November 1st.
Yeah, November 1st, and of course that's how Derek Jeter, who we
Got
were
his
talking about
name.
earlier, got his name, Mr. November. So I think this concludes our 2017 really Jam Sports Year in Review. We'd like to thank all of our guests for coming on the show, and Jared, I guess, cheers to a new year. Cheers to a brand new Jam Sports year, as this has been Max Danielsen
and Jared Hedges
reporting for Jam Sports. And now, please tune in for our last segment, which will be the Jam Sports Top 10 Plays of the Year. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you in 2018. Have a good day, everyone.
And swung on and bounced on one hop off the glove of Arnado. From his knees, throws to first and got him. Oh, what a play. Knocked the ball down, stayed down on his knees, threw a strike to Reynolds for the second out.
Wilson went after it. He steps up and then centered it. Curry made a great save. And it's out of play into the netting. Oh my, how close are they coming?
Extra men on the rush. Ryan skips through it, throws on the run, and Jones with a catch. Phenomenal catch by Julio Jones on the sideline.
As Betts drives the ball to right center field, Pilar got it! What a sensational catch by Kevin Pilar!
Sees Park for Crosby to the goal. He scores! Another backhander by Sid gives the Penguins a 1-0 lead with just 8.2 ticks on the clock.
There's a long fly ball, deep center field. Jackson's back. He leaps. He made an unbelievable catch. He flipped into the bullpen. Did he hang on? That's the only question at this point.
He sure did.
What a play by Austin Jackson. That just might be the play of the year.
Pilar hits it high and deep to right. Piscotti back on the track at the wall. It's over his glove off the wall. Coghlan is headed for third. They're going to wave him home. Here's the throw from Piscotti to home plate. And Molina can tag him. What a play by Coghlan.
Hey, speaking of that, Orlov into the star zone. What a move! Scores!
There's a highlight reel goal for you right there. And the confidence to pull this off. He picks the puck up, middle of the ice, on John Klingberg. He bites on it. A little play, you go from your backhand through your legs.
But a turnover as Hickey lost it. They throw it Sabotka in front. Mayfield with a good stick. And then Christ diving back, able to keep it out.
And a great second effort by Thomas Grice. Never giving up on the play. Desperation makes the big save.
Blitz. Far sideline, Devontae Adams. What a throw and catch. Third down play. Rodgers in trouble. Irving on his back. Can't get there. Aaron Rodgers first down. Try to get something into the end zone. That's another rookie. Xavier Woods. This one, Adams, touchdown!
To be part of a great team. Here's Hilton blitzing off the slot again. Passer Hopkins. Oh my goodness. Did he catch that? Did he catch that? That's the touchdown catch of the year if that's good. What an unbelievable catch.
Here's Edelman broken up, and the pass is no sign yet. Oh, that's a catch. Oh my God. That's incredible.